Is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, founder of appmasters.com, and welcome to our weekly YouTube live streams and podcasts. So, if you don't want to watch on YouTube and see my face, well, then you can listen to the audio only on the podcast channel as well. It goes up every Monday. But today, I've got a phenomenal guest. I've known him for years, and I was like, Vivek, we've never done this. You got to come on and share your insights. So, we're going to talk all about Facebook targeting, why it's so important, especially for his particular company. He's leading a lot of innovative initiatives for Times Internet, which is a huge media company out in India. He's out in the Bay Area. So without further ado, let's bring in Vivek. Vivek, welcome to the show, my fan.
Good morning, Steve. Exciting to be here. Finally, huh?
Finally, dude. So just in case you guys missed it, Vivek is the VP of Marketing and Head of Growth at Times Internet. He's a very accomplished marketing leader. He knows a lot of stuff. And so we're going to break it all down with you. But Vivek, how did I do with the intro? Anything else you want to add?
I think that's good enough. What I would like to give people more insight into is just Times Internet. As people, it's a large media conglomerate. So Times Internet is the digital arm of the Times of India group, which is a 150-year-old newspaper brand that has since become a vast media empire.
Wow.
And now I am part of a special ops team based out in San Francisco that is one, focusing on improving our growth initiatives cross portfolio, and two, where 75% of my time goes is heading marketing for a new startup that is incubated fully within Times Internet. And this is what we call a super app for non-resident Indians. There are 40 million Indians outside India. How do we make an app that serves their financial needs, their shopping needs, etc.? So it's been really exciting to have the backing of a large media empire, at the same time getting to work on really early stage company building initiatives here.
Yeah, even at a big company, you and I were talking before we started going live, and you're like, hey, Steve, I'm still doing things that don't scale. Yes, I have all the resources in the world, but I'm still doing things that don't scale. A lot of manual work.
Yeah, and this is we discussed a little bit before, and this is inspired by the famous Paul Graham essay, where we're in this world obsessed with scale, right? The most common rebuttal you'll hear to any idea, but does it scale?
Yes.
And at the beginning, it's actually okay if it doesn't, because you're still trying to figure out your fastest route to PMF, right? So for us, we are talking to right now. So we're marketing only in the US. So we have tied up with several Indian grocery stores, right? And now, so we actually have stalls running at several Indian grocery stores in Dallas, in New Jersey, and we did a couple in California as well. And we're running a co-marketing promotion with a separate company where we encourage users to sign up for our product, link their credit cards, and invest some time in checking the app out, and we give them a little bit of swag and goodies as an incentive to do so. Now, uh, you know, is this something that I could scale nationwide? Probably not. There's just so many unknown variables. There's, what kind of placement they get outside the store, what's the weather like, what's the footfall like in that specific area, how competent are the agents who are on ground. So yes, this is not something that will scale, but for a company that is sort of figuring out really what are the needs of the users, what do they respond to, the real-time user feedback that we've gotten from this has been invaluable in sort of building out our what you would call in gaming your core loops, and to understand what is it really, what are the unmet needs for the market, and what we're building, is it something that this audience is actually going to respond to.
Vivek, I want to ask a couple of, to add on that. One, when you're at a bigger company like that, how do you sell things like this that they're like, because you're probably at a point where it's like, Vivek, that doesn't scale. What are we really trying to accomplish here? Come on, can't we just run some ads? So how do you get that across? Is it just like, hey, you're the boss, so you're like, no problem, let's do it?
uh, I think it's never I could always pull rank, but I don't think that's the right way to get things done. So anytime we uh, come up with a project that does require some sort of investment, I do establish some sort of a business case and the expected output from it, and that can be a quantitative output or a qualitative output, right? And so just establishing a clear hypothesis of what we are hoping to achieve, what is the effort that it'll take to do that, and making sure management and all the decision makers are bought into the idea is generally important, not just for our company, but as if you're in any corporate world, right?
Yeah, I love it. Hey, I'm Burmese, so I love jalebi. Like that's what I was in the market for. I love those sweets. All right. My father-in-law is Indian. So, but I do want to ask you this: like when you said, hey, that product market fit, PFM, when you're trying to figure out that early user feedback is so critical, what are you doing to ensure your agents on the ground are asking the right questions to elicit that type of feedback?
That's a great question. So for the first part of it, you know, we from the who are actually part of the senior team of the company, we actually went on the ground ourselves, right? And this is it's the grind,
Wow.
but you know what? If you want to build, if you're obsessed with making something new and not just scaling something from 1 to 10, which is I've done that in the past. It's an absolutely worthwhile endeavor, nothing wrong with that. But 0 to 1 requires a bit more of grinding it out. So we actually went on the ground to Dallas. We spoke to people.
Wow.
We walked all our agents through our onboarding funnel, and we told them, hey, these are the main talking points. This is how you incentivize people to go through it on the spot. And third is, if you get feedback, you make sure if there's something you can do about it on the spot, then just show them how to troubleshoot. Otherwise, make note of it so we can then find patterns in what users are seeing, and then help them and make changes to the product and or give our agents on the ground corrective feedback so they can address it the next time.
Yeah, I love it. As we're growing internally, I'm always thinking about like systems and there's a great book about extreme ownership and everything falls on us as the leaders of the companies. And so I'm kind of thinking through like, all right, I got to go through this my process, bring people in, and then kind of like now I'm in like quality control mode, right? Like before it was like hiring mode. Now you hired, it's like quality control mode. And I'm just like balancing all of that internally.
So, I went to business school, and they'll always tell you, oh, you must learn to delegate, be a servant leader. But 90% of people who run successful companies are obsessed with the details. Like, let me
Yep.
tell you that. And so am I. I'm not, it's always the right details at the right time. So you
Yeah.
get in there, you formalize the process, the system, and then you hand it over. So I think there's, it's like you're a lighthouse and you're shining a light on one specific thing so that people are able to kind of coalesce around your processes and system. Then they know the way.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add on this side? Because I'm selfishly asking for myself.
No, I think we can move on to the next one.
All right. Well, Mary has a question too. I really think Facebook is an ad vehicle I can tap into. She's got an app that helps you remember names. And so great for salespeople. I want to reach people that would be interested in a name remembering app if you learn about it through targeting. All right. So Vivek, let's get into some of the Facebook targeting stuff. You said, hey, I'm looking for Indians, not in India. So how do I find them, especially with IDFA? So how do you go about this targeting?
Yeah, this is such a meaty topic, right? So uh, so what we're doing right now, for example, at times, right, is trying to do micro targeting in a world where micro targeting is dead,
Mm,
right? So while there are 40 million quote unquote Indians outside India, there are only 4 million of them in the US. So now just kind of moving the conversation to only the US, right? That means there is 1% of the population here. Now, 5 years ago, you could, if you want to target a Hispanic person between the ages of 25 to 35 in 5 specific cities, you could do that.
right.
Now, anything of that sort is impossible because of a lot of privacy issues, and also illegal in some cases after the Cambridge Analytica and other cases that have come up in the last few years. So the analogy I come up with is of curling. Have you seen that sport?
Oh
It's really
man.
famous in Canada,
Yes.
where you have this disc of ice and you're kind of just using this brush to guide it into the right direction. You can't actually touch it. You don't have control of it, right? So you're sort of just really frantically trying to figure out, hey, just go here, move a little bit to the left, a little bit, change the angle a little bit. So I think that is really what you're doing to the algo, where you're trying to course correct it through ancillary levers. And there are three main levers that I found for that. One is targeting, second is creative, and the third is your feedback signals. So the first one is targeting, right? We've generally found that uh, interest targeting, it works, but I have never been able to get scale from it. So if you're
Mm,
running a really, let's call it a lifestyle business, and you're satisfied with uh, the traffic that is coming through, you're making a couple of $1,000s a month, and that is the extent of your ambition, then that's completely fine. But if you're looking to build a venture-backed company at scale, then really the only way out is broad targeting, and then running different experiments to figure out how to best find that audience. One way we have done that, and I completely understand that this is not something others can necessarily do, is use first-party data, right? We have so many different products within the Times portfolio. We use a lot of audience lists from other apps and use them as seed lists for different lookalikes. So,
mm.
and you can keep running experiments with 1%, 5%, 10%. Try with audience expansion. I think someone asked about the Advantage Plus as well.
Mm.
Uh, audience expansion works, but I would recommend that in general, whatever you think your estimated TAM is, your estimated audience from as a result of the expansion should not be more than 50% above that. So for example, if I know there are 4 million Indians in the US and my audience is 15 million, then it's expanded too much. I need to figure out a way to cut that down and narrow my focus a little bit more.
I see.
So that's what I've generally found works the best. The second is, I think we already know this, creative, right? Creative is not, it's a screening mechanism, right? So the product, when it's called Abound by the Times of India, when we launched it in the first phase, it was a cashback and rewards application, right? So people could shop at Indian grocery stores, they could buy cricket streaming, and they would get a lot of cashback and rewards. And what used to happen is that it just, shopping cashback is just such a big category. It started attracting a lot of people who were just not part of our audience set. They would come into the app and immediately churn out saying, hey, oh, this is not for me at all. And it was really tough to control for that at top of the funnel. So what we started doing is once we launched we started adding more faces that were brown, so that it's
Mm.
really, there's a subtle link that, hey, this is for this audience. And then we added this feature of sending money to India. Now that itself acts as a self-selecting procedure, right? Because if you don't want to send money to India, you will not click on this ad.
Right.
So that has been really helpful. And we've seen some level of success with Cameo, getting, let's say, B-level celebrities, but recognizable faces,
Yes.
and getting them to run ads, say something nice about the product. It's actually, if you have the right editors and, we are able to figure out the hacks to make a catchy video, it works really well.
I love it.
I feel like more people should go for that. Third one, which is feedback signals, and here three things matter: recency, frequency, quality. Right? Recency is how soon after the install does this event occur. Right?
Hmm.
We know that 24 hours is the best, 48 is okay, but you do want some level of recency to the event. Second is frequency, right? We know, okay, Facebook requires, at least last I checked, a rolling day 750 events as feedback signals per campaign. Google requires 10 events per campaign per day. So
Dang.
that's why they have the recommendation of your budget should be 10 times your TCPA. And the third is the quality. What is it that you are actually trying to optimize for, right? So that event has to ultimately be or have a good correlation to your ultimate goal, which is, I'm assuming, revenue. And what I've found is not just depending on your regular event flow in your pipeline, your ETL that's normally there, but also thinking a little bit deeper on creating synthetic events. So we worked really closely with our engineering team and created what we call it, a HQ sign up and a HQ bank link. So these are users that we've identified as high quality, and we send that back as a feedback signal to Facebook, Google as an optimization event. And something similar that I had done at a previous company was Elevate Labs, and that was a subscription at brain training games. So what used to happen is you would sign up for a 7-day trial, which would then auto renew to a subscription. And once we created a, a bar chart of how much time after the trial sign up do people cancel the trial, we found that a good chunk, like I would say 30 odd percent, occurred in the first 6 hours. So what we did was we created a synthetic event that instead of firing the trial start at the time of trial start, it was an adjusted trial start. And we waited for 12 hours after the trial, and we discounted anyone who had already canceled their trial. So, uh, so basically what I did was I introduced a mild delay, so my recency is still taken care of, but I improved the quality by almost 1/3. And that, I think, was clutch in terms of us being able to find the right users and get the high quality users on board.
Was that
And
something that you had to build internally, Vivek, or is that like
yeah,
something you can do through Emmett? Okay.
uh, I would reckon at this point some of this tooling might be available if you are running some of the, maybe like a revenue cat or something, but I'm not
Mm,
sure.
okay.
Yeah. So what we've done at times, right, is as a result of this for Abound, we are now running it in 80% basically match rate for our specific audience. So we've gone from, like, I call it an 80x magnification, right? You have 1% of the demographic audience, but 80% of the audience in our app is now an Indian person. So these levels, while they are generally proxies and they will never give you, there was never an exact number I can always tell you, but
Yeah.
achieving that tells me that this thing works.
I love it. Hey, I want to get into some of the targeting. So if you couldn't do, let's say you didn't have all this first party data that you do have, Vivek, and you're like, hey, dude, you're doing lookalikes. And so if you said interest-based targeting, now you tell me if I'm wrong, because everybody talks about broad, but every time I've
Mm-hmm.
run broad, it gets super expensive. And I like to focus on like really affordable, cheap campaigns. You know what I mean? I'm not talking
Mm-hmm.
about scale. And so one client we had that was in the sports like betting, but like more for fun space, we were targeting
Mm-hmm.
people, interest-based targeting with NFL. So American football. And then when I changed the interest-based targeting to all the people who liked all the 32 teams, I dropped the cost per install. So I personally like to
Good.
do interest-based targeting, but I'm not an expert like you are. So talk to me, like, what's the best approach if you did not have that first party data that you do have with the lookalikes?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it all depends on the scale you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
In most cases, you are better off, even if you don't have an audience list available, like we do, keeping the targeting broad and letting
Mm,
your creative do the heavy lifting. So at this point, the ML has gotten smart enough that it can, with a very quick sample size, determine what kind of an audience is the best fit.
I
Think
see.
of uh, TikTok as an example, right? If you watch any of the videos on the algo, every video gets a certain level of outlay for in front of a different sets of users, and it very quickly it can tell you which one is going to go viral, which one is not. And at this point, there's I don't think there's a lot of secret sauce in these kind of algos anymore. Uh, and the Facebook ML has also improved to a large extent after over the last year. If you do want to interest targeting, I think you want to try and just understand a little bit more about your audience. And NFL is just so broad, like
Yeah.
100 million people in this country who probably have NFL as an interest. So I think the more granular you're able to get is going to be always more useful. So really understanding the audience, what their interests are,
Yep.
and the more unique uh, you can find you can get into that, I think that is always going to be super helpful.
So let's go back to Mary's question real quick. And she
Hmm.
says it's a game for like, so she's like, okay, I have a hypothesis that maybe salespeople are more interested. Should she do more interest based targeting like this, or should she create creatives that say, hey, salespeople, we got an app that's going to help you remember if you're at a big event like MAU Vegas, then like we got an app that helps you remember all that stuff. Is that like, is creative more important then? And she could just keep it broad from like 35 to 40, 55, whatever.
That's an interesting one. I haven't really done a B2B campaign here before, but my if I had a limited budget, my first inclination to be would be to use LinkedIn and target by
Mm,
designations instead of trying to go broad on Facebook,
I
where
like it.
so it's not just audience but also context that is important, right? Most people on Facebook to just faff around, check out what's up with their friends. Uh, Every now and then I'll see some weird B2B ad there, but it's I would say it's not the first place I would go if I were targeting salespeople.
Right.
The targeting levels on LinkedIn have become pretty sophisticated. You can target people by companies, you can target them by their designation, number of years of experience. So I think if I had a limited outlay, that's where I would go first, and I would think about avenues like Facebook second.
I like it. Okay. We got Benjamin said, any words on the Advantage Plus targeting from Facebook? I'll perform all my manual targeting attempts. So here's the Advantage Plus for those who aren't seeing it. It
Yeah,
is
so
under
that's
the ad
what
group.
I had mentioned over there,
Mm-hmm.
uh, where it will increase your audience base, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure it doesn't expand it too much. So sometimes what might happen is if you do a 10% lookalike based on a seed list with Advantage Plus, it might expand your audience a little beyond what actually is your core. So you might want to dial it back by taking a 5% seed list and running an Advantage Plus selection with that.
I like it. Okay. And then Param asks, how long does a lookalike or retargeting campaign take to really produce results? That's a question that I'm dealing with too. We're trying a retargeting campaign for one of our clients on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean that's such a I'm going to cop out answer to this. It's called it depends. It completely depends on your product, your category, your what kind of audience you're targeting.
Yeah.
So I mean you kind of know this, right? Let's go back to the gaming analogy. If you're running a hyper casual game, you'll get dollars, a few dollars CPI, like maybe $3 to $6. If you're running a mid core, it's about 20 to 25. At Machine Zone, where we had 4x builder game, you'd almost $50 for an install. So
Wow.
it completely depends on because our ARPPU is $500.
Yeah.
We could afford to do that, uh, but
I'm
it
just highlighting
will.
your experience. This is Vivek's LinkedIn. So
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Vivek.
no worries, no. So I think it really depends on uh, your your audience, your target, and retargeting now is, especially in iOS, it's a very dicey game because by default you are retargeting anyway right now if you're using because there's no device ID, so there is no suppression list anymore. So your ads are in effect being seen by people who may already have the app installed, and
Hmm.
you can actually find that. I think Scan is now able to differentiate that as well as the re-download as well. Sorry, re-download is for people who download again. But retargeting, it's really tough to get a read on retargeting right now on iOS, but on Android, obviously, you still have those avenues available.
So is it something you should still try to attempt, or is it like, hey, there's other ways? Think about other ad channels if you're trying to scale up Facebook.
So again, lookalikes, I would use lookalikes for prospecting. I don't know if retargeting is when you're a custom audience. So just to differentiate that,
Right.
right? Retargeting is when you have a custom audience. Say, uh, this is something we do at our end as well, right? We collect first party data, which is your email and phone number. We obviously built out a robust CRM and data pipeline. We conduct RFM analysis at our end, right? Recency, frequency, monetization analysis to sort of diversify our audience into different segments. That some are, power users, some are kind of casual users, some of them are churned out, and then we can take that first party data, create custom audiences, and then send those people messages through avenues like Facebook. So that would be more of a retargeting maneuver. If I had to do lookalikes, I would take our power users, get enough data to put that in a custom audience, and build a lookalike of that custom audience to prospect and find users who are more like our power users.
Oh,
So
I see.
there are slightly different use cases here. It's not.
I like
I
that.
think. Well, we like to see them in the same kind of conflate the terms, but they're actually the nuance here.
I like that a lot. Okay. All right, we got some other questions. I want to give you a break. I want to say hi to people. Bovin's here. Sorry, it took a little bit while. Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Mary, Miguel, and then we got Adrian
Hey,
and Luis from Venezuela. What's up, Pat?
I love
Oh,
it. We
DJ.
have this is the United Colors of Benetton ad happening right here. I love it.
Urban Preserve. Hello, family. We'll be working together soon. All right. I love it, bro. And Solano, good Friday to everyone. I'm a bit late to the party, but I'm looking forward to learning something new. I have no experience in Facebook ads. Hey, let's talk about this. Vivek, if you got no experience, there's Facebook AAA. I don't even know if that still exists, but like, where would you start if you have no experience with Facebook?
If you have no experience with Facebook, I would find someone who has experience with Facebook, like Steve.
Ah, man, I'm very limited. I'll be honest. I'm decent, but it's nothing crazy. Mm.
uh, that's a good question. So, you know, assuming that you have expertise or at least a consultation, the ear of someone who has done this before, right? I would one anticipate some amount of learning cost, right? You had to be
Yeah.
willing to spend money to make money, right? That is just that's how the game works here, right? Unless you're willing to burn some amount of cash to learn things, there's just no way to understand the audience and see what works.
Yep.
Then two, I say don't be a hero, right? Do what works, especially in your beginning. Don't be fancy and try to spend money on some famous influencer. Literally just go to your Facebook ad library or TikTok ad library, see what works in this category, replicate that, and run your ads to see what kind of response you get. What is the your retention? What is how when does it flatten out? So to understand how sticky your product is for this audience. And one important thing I really want to highlight is what I call the fallacy of the early stage product. And this has happened a lot of times. Okay, you meet a company that creates an MVP, runs a few $100s in Facebook ads. They find this audience and they love the product, and they're like, "Holy shit, we found product market fit. Let's get more money from investors." And once they start spending, $10,000 a day, the costs go out of control, right? And that is because if you are operating at the scale of a few $100s a day, Facebook and any algorithm based network, right, they can generally really pinpoint the low hanging fruit pretty easily,
Mm.
right? So there's an exploit versus explore concept, right? So they already know if you're only spending a few $100s a day, it's very easy to find those people. But the moment you start branching out in exploratory phase, you're there's something called we call a product channel fit as well, right? Uh, there's a really good framework called the four fits on Refor. You should take a look at that. So if, as an example, right, if I made an app for teenagers who are afraid of clowns, bizarre thing, right? If I only spent a few $100s a day, I would actually find those people really easily. And then I would say, oh my God, I have a hit product. But from a TAM perspective, that really isn't a lot of them. So you definitely want to add a little bit of qualitative uh, understanding as well when you are doing your uh, early stage marketing as to how big is this audience, how big of a problem is it, where does it stack in the rank of the problems they have, and how much are they willing to spend or do to get rid of the problem.
I like it. So it's like, is this it?
Exactly. This is great. I think this is any company that is operating at early stage. You should take a look at this.
Four
You obviously
fits.
have your product market fit, which everyone talks about, but there are also things like product channel fit, channel market fit, and your model market fit.
I like it. All right, we're gonna go a little bit quicker here. So GGEZ says, do you get any profit from investment in Facebook ads directly from those ads?
Directly from the ads. I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm opening a GoFundMe which says pay me money,
Yeah.
uh, uh, I'm not sure
I
directly what does directly mean here, but yes, we are ultimately,
yes.
we are performance marketers,
Yes.
right? We are
The easy answer
operating
is
with the
yes. Of course,
yes, we
GG.
are operating with the view on ROAS. That is why we exist, why we have jobs in the first place.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes.
What's up, Muchizi? Okay. What's up, Steve? All right. Any thoughts on targeting MC Hoozy? Okay, my bad, MC Hoozy. Any thoughts on targeting musicians?
Musicians. Hmm. I haven't really dealt with an audience before, but I would imagine there, some level of audience research would indicate uh, brands or interests that are, fairly relevant to
Mm-hmm.
these people, and I think that could be an interesting avenue. I would, yeah, I think I would think a little bit more and delve deeper into maybe the demographics and psychographics of, what that category looks like to give you a more thoughtful answer.
Yeah, I like it. I like the brands element because then
Mhm.
especially as a musician, you probably know like the coolest brands, not the brands that everybody has, like the
Hmm.
beginners like me. So
Yep. Do
uh,
you have a Gibson guitar?
I have a ukulele that I've yet to
Ukulele.
just.
Oh wow. All
My
right.
hands are small. I can't do a guitar. I can barely reach the other thing. All right, Nurex says Instagram ads really effective on app downloads.
Yes, I think in general you want to give the algo freedom to select between Instagram, Messenger, Facebook, Fan, etc. So there was a time when I would kind of be a little bit more manual and select, hey, I don't want my ads to run on Fan or something. But I think
Mm-hmm.
at this point you just want to have dynamic placements.
Okay, and then Aluk, is there a way to target influencers on Facebook and IG? It's a good question. It's selfish. He's part of our team.
Hollow Mama, is that Hollow Mama?
Yeah.
Uh,
Luke, he's part of
uh,
our team. We have a
uh,
client, it's like a cameo type of app. And so we're looking for influencers to come onto our platform too. So that's why we're asking that question.
uh, okay, so the goal is for them to jump on to.
Yeah,
Uh,
we want people like at least with 100,000, 500,000 followers. So is there any way to target those people?
I would take a B2B approach to this one. Like, Facebook is ultimately a tool, right? But it's not always the right tool for every occasion. I think you probably have more luck building a scraping tool that just scrapes a massive YouTube or Instagram API and says, hey, these are the people with 100,000 followers. This is the contact information, or sends a message or DM directly to them through a bot. I
Mm,
think that is probably going to be more effective, in my opinion, than doing an outreach campaign. I think you could try it, but I think that would be my first inclination. Where
yeah.
I think it is one of those things where when you tool you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I want to make sure that as marketers, we must be versatile enough to change our approach depending on the problem.
I like it. All right. Benjamin says, calling me out. The thing you showed before was not the Advantage Plus targeting. The one I mean is choosing on the campaign level. When selecting, you can't choose anything else but targeting except the countries. So I'm assuming, Benjamin, here's what you're talking about. Create a new
That,
campaign, app
that,
promotion, and then hit Advantage Plus. Yeah.
hold on, I'm trying to see. Oh, this is the one that they're really promoting. So this is what
So
AAA
the
has
Black
morphed
Hat.
into.
Yeah.
This is what
Mm-hmm.
AAA has morphed into. Yeah, that's true. Uh, I think the jury's still out on this one. They are promoting this really heavily. I don't believe we are running campaign on Advantage Plus right now. We are still maintaining some level of manual control here. Uh, but I think this is a good option, especially if you are in the early stages, you're kind of still testing things out, and you want to get a quick read on how Facebook marketing will help you without too much of an investment in man hours.
I like it. Okay. And then Param asks,
And
also,
just one more thing over there. I
sure.
think anytime you're starting off Facebook, Google, whatever, you always want to walk down the funnel. Like you don't want to start off a campaign that is optimizing for a level 10 of your game right at the outset. You want to start off with the install, get some data, you know, get your learnings, make some modifications to the product or your onboarding as you need. Then maybe start a level 2 optimized campaign and key or a trial start and then goes to subscription. So you always want to be slowly walking down the funnel to reach your sweet spot of scale and revenue.
I love it. Great philosophy. And then Param says he has a Shopify customer list. Would that work for lookalike on Facebook? I haven't seen many conversions. Maybe it's a timing thing.
So again, I want to not give talk out of my ass here. My most of my experience has been in app marketing, so I may not be
Mm-hmm.
the best person to ask about Shopify list. I think you maybe want to read up a little bit more on Cappy because uh, I was at the Facebook Performance Marketing Summit, which was held in SF a few months ago at the Masonic, and they basically said this, that Cappy is the future of web measurement on Facebook. So
Mm,
definitely invest some time and effort in understanding the conversion API, implementing the tooling correctly, and that'll probably help you a little bit more in your web attribution.
yep. Okay. And then you guys can just Google it and you'll find it there.
Mhm.
Cappy is it. All right, Vivek, let's see. All right, we got one more question from MC Hoozy. I'm an app marketer. I'm assuming it's a he, just interviewed an app marketing position. They want to gain 500,000 downloads in 6 months, and their budget is $200,000 in US. Is this realistic
$200,000
for
in,
500,000 downloads in 6 months?
but again, context is everything, right? Like, if I want to get that in India, yes, I can spend that. I can spend half of that and get those downloads.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
it all depends, like I said, on what is your category, what is your product, and who is your audience. So
Yeah.
without a little bit more context into that, it's tough for me to give you any sort of an answer.
Yeah. Shouldn't be hard
If
if
it,
you focused on lower cost
yeah, I mean,
countries.
if you focus on lower cost countries, or you just don't care about the quality, you can
Yeah.
just give it to some affiliate network and they'll get you all the garbage. But then what's the point, right?
Yeah. Benjamin, I have no idea where you want me to go, but like that was the first one was what AAA has now become. I don't. You're saying I went somewhere else. I don't know if you're talking about this one, the Advantage Plus. I have no
So
idea
if
what you're
there,
talking about.
so I think this is Benjamin. This is
Up
good
here.
feedback for Facebook. If there are multiple advantage pluses in the
Yeah.
UI.
There's Advantage Plus up here. I'm in the campaign. There's Advantage Plus up here. If you want to go manually, there's Advantage campaign budget, right? So like you tell me. All right. Cool. All right. You say yeah. Okay. Getting somewhere. They want US and UK, Europe and UK. Yeah. Depends on your goal. It's not hard, but it's anybody can get downloads, cheap downloads, right? It's like, are they
Yeah,
quality downloads? That's the name of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I love it, man. Okay. If there's no other questions, let's get into the app audit portion of our show. And we like to start off every app audit with some dad jokes. All right, my friend. I think you're speaking at AGS, right? So I'll come out there later on
Awesome.
with you. But let's place for some drinks or dinner. You want to go drinks or dinner?
Both, man. Why choose, huh?
All right, Vin. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
I can go first. So,
Okay.
uh, when I got the email about this, went to Reddit to look for some dad jokes, and even though I'm not a dad, I guess that makes me a faux pas.
I like it. All right. Vivek, did you hear that NASA is about to launch a new mission to say, I'm sorry to all the aliens in the world? It's called Apollo G. All right. Put S if you thought my joke was better. Put V if you thought Vivek's joke is better. Look, we're a lot on the line, And so it's dinner and drinks. It's a lot on the line.
I have a better one coming though.
Okay.
If you need more
We got
ammunition
a
here,
couple of
so
rounds, Vivek. We'll play
all
best
right,
out of
all right,
three. Yeah. All right. We're
all
going to
right.
take a look at Yusuf's app. Yusuf says, oh, actually, if you guys want us to take a look at your app on a future live stream, just go to appmasters.com/audit. Okay. Yusuf says, all right, he's got this app. He wants overall product feedback. So anything on the app store side of things that you want to mention, Vivek? So it looks like it's a
It's
WebMD. It's like a medical information with AI stuff involved.
mhm. Yeah. So I mean, what is a little bit unclear to me is that you say that this app can be used by anybody, so you're talking to the layman, but then when you say summaries, differentials, like that is very specific language, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming is maybe used by more medical students. Or something. But that is a little bit of a disconnect for me. Uh, Second thing, I actually looked at this yesterday. Functional dark mode. Like I don't think anyone really cares enough for that to put in the screenshot. Like I would
Maybe
reserve that
Apple.
real estate. I would reserve that real estate for something that is maybe more core to your product.
Right.
And over here, the second and third, there's just a lot of wasted real estate. You could
Yeah.
use that in a different manner. But Steve, I'll let you also chime in.
No, I agree with you. And I think, I always like to be, especially in the early days, Yusuf, I'm just going to assume you're in the early days, given the number of ratings you have and all that stuff. And so I like to be specific to what I'm looking for. When I read the description, it says it's talking to more medical people versus like just speak to them, the perfect app to help you with your nursing school or
Hmm.
when you're in med school. Right. And so lead in with that. And that way people know exactly who it's for. It's not for me and Vivek. It's for people in, medical school. So that's how I would try to approach this, in my opinion. Okay. And then ASO wise, like what I've noticed is if you look, maybe as you get more narrow and more targeted in your audience, you can actually go after like keywords that are related to nursing students. There's a bunch of different tests. I don't know all the acronyms, but there's a bunch of tests that have good keyword volume that you can start to optimize for because they probably need help with passing this
Hmm.
test, and your app comes perfectly in there. And I've talked to, Vivek at our SF workshop a couple of months ago. We met with some people who did all that. They had tests type of apps for different tests, and he was doing well in the app store. And so don't be afraid of being niche, especially in the very beginning.
Hmm. Hey, listen, there are people who are selling apps to remind people to drink water, and they're making money. So
Yeah.
there's nothing called too niche.
Yes. Yes. I got a friend of mine who does pretty well doing just that. All right. Let's get into the app itself and give him some product feedback. All right. Here we go. Oh, did I not share the right screen? Let me share the
On
right
your
screen.
phone.
Share screen. Oh, I see. Got it. My bad. All right. So this is the first screen that pops up, Vivek. It's asking for push notifications. All right, I'm gonna hit allow. I'm always allowing it now.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. You start. You want to start for me?
Yeah, I think for me, if it's a little bit of a, you know, there's too much text for me on this screen.
Yeah.
It feels just like a lot. It's like how old Google search results, used to be. Um, and I think the search is taking way too long.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just the AI, your algorithm working into
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna give you a positive review. But
back.
okay.
Yeah, and again, this is an important one. Like you want to generally
Oof.
wait for that rating prompt until. Oh my God, what's happening? Huh?
It's an ad.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
so for the rating thing, you generally want to wait until they've received some level of output from your app before asking for their investment.
Yeah. Yeah, Yusuf. Like here's what I would do. I would lead with some onboarding screens to remind users what the app is all about. Add
Hmm.
some paywall. I don't know what you have. Okay, look, add this paywall, like maybe a subscription or whatever it is. Because again, if you're going niche and you're going to people who are going to need this to help pass tests, then they're more likely to pay for it. Right. And the way I like to operate this, especially for like 0 to 1, right? Have a in-app purchase that it's all subscription with a remove ads in-app purchase that is non-consumable because your ads are way too aggressive. And
Hmm.
then you can make that remove ads for free, and then you tell app advice about it. Now, what I have seen does work, Vivek, is when you do ask for the rating prompt during the onboarding process, it does work even after the paywall.
Hmm.
That's how we do it. And then when
Hmm.
you do the app advice campaign, what we did with our app, we got about 12,000 downloads, making our lifetime offer for free. So for you,
Nice.
Yusuf, you make your remove ads for free and you tell app advice about it, it drives thousands of downloads, and those thousands of downloads turn into reviews. And if you're doing the remove ads, we've seen with other apps, especially if the annual subscription is low enough, people
Hmm.
tend to just buy the annual subscription because it's low enough, right? We did a $10 product, we made the remove ads, and we made money on this app advice campaign. So from 0 to 1, that's a great 0 to 1 strategy. You got no money
Nice.
from marketing.
Very cool.
Okay, cool. But the product needs some work. It's kind of ugly.
Uh,
That's my overall feedback on
and
the product.
also the second screen, like the topic videos, I think there's just so much
Yeah.
potential here. Like go to the next one.
Isn't?
Yeah, because this is like, oh my God, this is like, I think there is an opportunity here definitely to, like, it's a general anesthesia that's putting me to sleep already. This layout. I
Yeah.
think there's definitely a way to make this a little bit more interesting. And
Agreed. I always like to do most popular. Like, this is all in like, even if it's not the most popular, but if this is, I hate doing alphabetical, but like if I see most popular, my eye immediately goes to like it's at a new restaurant. Like here's our most popular. I love when menus have that. I'm like, cool, let me just try that
mm,
thingy. Right. If I'm new to the restaurant, let me just try that thing. And I like seeing the most popular
and
things.
this is me just maybe being a little bit more nitpicky here.
Oh,
But
please.
when I
That's what
see
we're
a
here
when I
for.
see a when I see a Gmail address in an app, it feels like this is not a serious company.
Oh, right here. I didn't even
Uh,
notice it. I love it.
yeah, uh,
Email us. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. All right. Cool. All right, Yusuf. Keep us posted. You got some potential here, man. So keep it going.
yeah. I
GG
think
easy. Oh, sorry.
what's important here is that maybe in the onboarding or in the app description, you tell people what is the unique thing that is trained on medical
Yeah.
journal data. That is the important thing, right? Because there are tons of GPT wrappers out there. What is the key differentiator you're at? That you have trained the LLM on medical data and is able to kind of synthesize outputs from the data. So I think if you're able to get that across better, I think that'll give you a huge leg up on other apps.
Love it. Oh, here's the dark mode. Yeah, this is wasted. This up here. I feel like. I don't know. For me, I know they got the purchases down here, but still I would go with subscription, ad free, unlimited searches, blah, 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 and open it up there. Okay, we got a question about GG from early on. Sorry, GG. I saw it. Just wanted to wait. Can you tell me if keywords used in subscription promos count as repeated keywords if you place them in subscription promotions? So I will show you what that means in a little bit. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't know. I think this is probably a better question for you.
Yeah, I mean, it does work. So I don't know if it counts as a duplicate. Okay, so that I don't know, but I do know it is ranked. So this is what GG Easy is talking about. I know it is ranked in the App Store algorithm. So I tend to have more specific keywords in here than like bland one, like Calm Premium. They could be like unlock all meditations versus just Calm Premium. So have
Mm-hmm.
the right keywords here in the subscription because you can see like it does show up in the search results. We have seen like other apps where generally your app needs to rank well for that keyword as well, and then it shows up the in-app purchase. And rarely have I seen where it's just the in-app purchase shows up without the app tagging along.
Right.
I probably could find a different keyword that will have it. Let's try alarm. Let's see what
Yeah, I
happens.
think the only time that I've seen is when there's a special event going on. That's when it kind of shows
Mm-hmm.
up as a separate thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so like here, I just put for alarm. This is not a branded term, but you can
Mm-hmm.
see alarm, alarm me, and then let's see if there's another one that shows up that might be a little bit smaller. Right here, upgrade to premium. I don't know. Alarm clock. I don't know when it shows and when it doesn't show, but it's worth it. I mean, the way I see it, Vivek, is like if you can get it to rank, you're just eating up more real estate, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like here, okay, I got to scroll down all the way to the clock. Man, alarm me is beating clock, the Apple clock. That's good. All right, let me see if there's any other questions that I might have missed. All right, Vivek, we got round two, but round one, thank you for all those
All
voting.
right.
Luis, thank you, Luis. 3-0 shutout. Hopefully we get a little bit more.
What?
All
All right. All right. All right. Okay.
right.
Okay. So, why does Dracula always bite people in the neck? Because
Why?
he's a necromancer.
Necromancer. Okay, let me find mine. I came unprepared for this. I just had a few that ready to go. All
Yeah.
right. I don't want to use, it's like, I've already known a few. Okay, here you go. What do you give the dentist of a year? Dentist of the year. What do you give the dentist of the year?
I don't know.
A little plaque. All right. So put again, same thing. A lot online. I could win it all. I could win it all, guys. Come on. Help your brother out. All right. All right. Let's see if there's any questions. They give the same name. Question for you, Steve. Does barrier to entry apps work? My app has a barrier to entry. When the user signs up, they get contacted by us. And if they qualify, they get let into the app. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, like Clubhouse, right? Like, it's like, hey, get an invite, apply, and then we'll let you know if you're in.
Uh, I think that can work if there is, some sort of a buzz about it. Is there some sort of a virality about it? Like, I think if you're gatekeeping entry right at the outset without having that, initial seeding, I don't think that is the right idea.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with
Th-
you, Vivek.
Thanks to Pranam for you guys
The one vote.
all your people are sucking up to you, man. I know these are all your employees
What
right
are you
here.
talking about? Oh man.
These are your plants voting S over here.
This is my plan. That's why I do dad jokes, just so I can get free dinners out of everybody. I agree with Vivek. So, like, I think what is your goal, right? If you got buzz, like, obviously people are like, all right, buzzworthy, so they want to come in. If you don't have any buzz, or if your goal is to get like product market fit fast, then just let them in because then you can start to really see the details because it does become a barrier to entry. You want them over. Look, they're
You
laughing
know,
at your joke. There you go. Thank you.
so on that note, like something I found that people when we just a little bit of a tangent here. People when we talk about brand marketing and digital apps, etc. Like if you have the virality of a chat GPT, then brand doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
You can tell this name chat GPT was made by engineers. Like no marketer would call a product chat GPT. It doesn't even like roll off the tongue. What the hell does it even mean, right? But obviously
Uh,
we're when we're talking about our industry, we're obviously in competitive categories and we want to stand out. So that's where brand equity does become a little bit important.
I like that, man. All right, let's get it to Yassine. I think I said that right. Speaking of ChatGPT, Yassine's got this app. I picked all AI apps for you, Vivek, but the, he or she, I think it's a he, but anything that could help have a good impact. So,
I
yeah,
mean, my first inclination I read this was like, how different is this from the Chat GPT app?
yeah.
Why do I use this instead of the actual thing?
You seen, like I did this video and we did this with Ariel from App Figures, but I said, hey, look, we've worked with a bunch of these little ChatGPT apps, and for ChatGPT apps, if you don't, again, if you don't have the budget to compete with the official OpenAI, Ask AI, all these big chat genie, then optimize for the outcome, not for the
Hmm.
keyword. So essay writer, paragraph writer, like, there's AI friend, AI dating assistant. These are all keywords out of ChatGPT. So it's the outcome that you're competing, that you, and then that you're optimizing for. And then the big guys are not paying attention to it because that doesn't have enough traffic. They're running a lot of paid marketing. So they're going after high traffic, high
Hmm.
difficulty keywords. You can live what I call in the dirt, where it's low traffic, lower competition, but highly targeted and higher conversion, and then get to that 0 to 1 and then get to 1 to 10 by going after more
Hmm.
generic keywords. That's the way I approach this.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think
All right.
that's fair. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Oh, my bad. I was going to get into the app.
All
So we're
right.
almost at the hour mark. Yeah, and the screenshots are ugly. I can barely read
Mm.
this. Come on,
Yeah,
Yassine. I can't read this.
you have like white on that fluorescent
Yeah.
blue. It's really tough to read that.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think what is cool about this is I don't know how well it works, is that it takes voice input and can also give voice output. So that's a cool thing, because I think that can be a cool thing, that this could be a Siri replacement, because Siri is dumb as shit. Uh, so
Don't
that could be an angle here. So,
hear
but
that.
every and people like to shit on GPT wrapper, but I think it's a perfectly legitimate business model as
Agreed.
long as you're able to find that angle, right? So there's the company Jasper, which has raised $100 million. All it does is give you marketing output.
Yeah.
So you know there are ways to make money and build a viable business out of it, but this doesn't tell me anything that is different. And while you have a differentiator, I think you maybe need to hype that up a little bit more.
Love it. Okay, let's get into the app itself. Aladdin. AI, most powerful AI on the market, giving you, I don't like saying stuff like this when I have no reviews. So I personally don't like using words like most powerful, but okay. And you can make the text a little bit darker. It's harder to read. I mean, it's not that bad here, but like very hard here with my 43-year-old eyes. All right. My name is ChatGPT. Too much text. Too much text. Oh man, where's the paywall? No paywall?
Maybe ask a question, see what happens.
Okay. You want me to just
Go
write a
back
poem,
there, write a
write
poem
a
on
poem
app marketing.
about app marketing for my friend Vivek. Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
there you go.
yeah, I don't mind this. I think I would test. We have a client, again, because we worked for the outcome, and now we've been able to take it from 0 to 1 really quickly for this app that we work with. It's a chat GPT type of app. We don't do trials. So because there's incurred, you have costs, what I would do is have an onboarding process. Look at Genie. I mean, it's not difficult. I have all the screenshots and I did a video about Genie. But anyways, don't have trials for everything. Have trials for your higher performing LTVs there. But for our client, we don't actually have trials for anything. We let them do one prompt and then we lock them out. And so think about, not because there's costs associated you, and I know it's not that high, but at the same time, like think about removing that the trials, because I don't think it's never going to be 100%, right? That trial to paid is never going to be 100%. And then move yearly up and just show the one that you want people to buy as the first one, and then move monthly down. Monthly has the lowest LTV, so it should never be the most popular. It should either be weekly or yearly. That's going to have a higher LTV than their monthly. But also back to my earlier thing, do the remove ads, like just have that as an in-app purchase, hide it somewhere in the settings, and then run the app advice campaign. And that way they're like, here, come in for that. They come in for the remove ads, but then they end up buying something else for you. It's a great way to hack downloads. And then, as you optimize your keywords in your ASO, you need to hack the downloads. And that's how you hack it. So a fresh ASO, hack it with an app advice campaign. Give those keywords a fresh boost. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Vivek, on this?
Um, it says get access to the most powerful GPT-3 engine. I think we already at GPT-4.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I think in general, this is just like a lot of text, like you said. So they're just trying to,
Yeah.
if you make it more intuitive, like a chat conversation, I think that, I think Inflection AI does a good job of that. If you look at their UI,
Mm,
might be useful to take some tips from them.
love it. Okay. Nurix asks, Steve, how do you get featured on health fitness app? So it's hard. I was listening to the Sub Club podcast and I was on it too. But anyways, Anya was talking about from Rooted. She was talking about how she finally got featured and she just kept emailing them. So there's a forum called appstore.com/promote,
Mhm.
appstore.com/promote, and Nurix. Unless you're going to cold email somebody on an App Store manager on LinkedIn, just keep pushing that as much as possible. And so have obviously integration with Apple Health, but next fill out that form, appstore.com/promote.
And in general, so Elevate used to get featured a ton of times, and so did Balance, which was the meditation app. It actually won on not Apple. So
Mm-hmm.
Elevate won Apple's App of the Year at one point, and Balance won Google's App of the Year in 2021. And in general, it's really about if you can. One, obviously, you just have to be super persistent and pray to Apple's black box. And the
Yeah.
second is you have to kind of touch in on something that is a very topical and relevant theme. And mental health over the last few years has just been super top of mind with COVID and lockdowns and in general the loneliness epidemic that is cutting across the country and the world. So all the apps are like Balance to the meditation app. Rooted is also about mental wellness. If your app is in that kind of a theme, then your chances are greater as opposed to just doing like a regular workout app.
Yeah. And I would say like the other way to hack it is Apple will have these developer meetups or like these virtual ones since COVID. Go sign up for it.
Hmm?
Ask for the person's name. This is what I did at WWDC in 2016. I showed off my client's app and I was like, hey, what was your name? Oh, Vivek. Okay, cool. Thank you for your feedback. And then what I do when I get home, go on LinkedIn, Vivek Apple. And then I just found you. And I was like, hey, when I reached out to appstore.com/promote, I was like, hey, Vivek from Apple, loved my app too. He gave me some great advice at WWDC. And here's what we did with the changes. Then boom, we got a game of the day. This is 2016. So all these little tricks. Do things that don't scale. Vivek, anything I missed before we say goodbye? Thank you for all the time you spent with us.
No, I think there'll always be something to talk about. So
I didn't even get into
there's
attribution, which is what I really wanted to talk about with you. But we'll save it for another time. We got to have Vivek back because attribution is like a pain in the butt for me, Vivek. Like we're having so much problems we're running some TikTok ads and then the scan data is just not getting pulled into TikTok. And there are some minimum things that we're not hitting. But for another client, I don't think we ever hit those minimums and we're able to get attribution working. I don't know what to do. I'm lost.
yeah. If it makes you feel better, it's a pain in everyone's butt, not just yours.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's harder because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like a super expert in this. So I'm like, am I just screwing up? Like, what am I doing wrong type of thing?
No, not going to take too much time on this, but
Yeah, go.
right now the way we're working is that we have to just kind of tear ourselves out from that vision of having that deterministic data that we used to. We just kind of just have to rip that band-aid off and try and get think in probabilities. Like what is the closest approximation to the truth that we can get?
Yeah.
So that involves looking at different sources of data. One, we literally look at three different numbers. We look at our back-end numbers for our overall health of the business. We look at platform numbers at a network level, and then we also look at scan numbers to see how closely they match the platform numbers and get a sense of how things are doing on iOS. One quick tip that I actually got from AppsFlyer at one of the events is from the millions of campaigns they run for all the clients. They figured out for Facebook, the key threshold level is 30 installs per ad set per day on iOS. That
30.
is your minimum threshold you need to hit for your null conversion rate to be, you know, in 10 to 20% or as close to zero as possible.
Eric says, what do you think about TikTok ads? Effective?
Very effective as long as
Yeah.
you have a lock on creative. Because creative, your half life of creative on TikTok is days, not weeks. So
Oh,
you
really?
really need to be on point of and top of all the TikTok trends, and definitely take a look at their new ad library. It is extremely good.
Yep.
You can sort by CTR, category, product. It's fantastic.
I think I got rid of the CTR.
They did okay.
I don't know.
You know,
Here, I
so
did it. I think it was after you and I talked when we were
mm,
prepping for this. I was like, "Oh my god, they do this too. What?" So let's just try it real quick, but you guys
all
got
right.
to check it out. Okay, I'll go UK. Yeah, see they removed it. I don't know where it is.
I think marketers might have objected to that.
Yeah, they removed it. It's like, "What?" They did have CTR, which was insane.
Uh,
But yeah, maybe marketers were like, "Dude, why are you giving that?" So now we have
yeah.
this. But it's still a great resource. Check it out.
Yeah, it's a great resource. You know, you find the right partners to run your creative, because this uh, does require a very time consuming research on what is it that's actually working right now.
Yeah. CPI, TikTok, and Instagram, it's all testing. Like for one client, we're getting like $1.2030 on TikTok versus like a $2 on Apple search ads. So it depends on the market, depends on everything. It's just not a lot of search volume for this type of app besides the brand. And so TikTok gives us an outlet to reach our core audience. So, all right, Vivek. All right, last thing I will say is go connect with Vivek. He's got a wealth of knowledge. Don't just swarm him, but his LinkedIn profile is linked up into our show notes. And then timesinternet.in is the company that he's running. He's the VP. He knows a lot of stuff. As you guys can see, he's got a lot of great experience across multiple categories. It's games to big media companies, and now leading all the innovative stuff for Times Group. All right, Vivek, if the audience wants to connect with you in any other way, do you want to send them anywhere else?
Yeah, I have a large digital footprint, so I'm very active on Twitter as well. But uh, a lot of non-professional stuff as well. So but feel free to connect any of these places. Always happy to chat with industry folks, and we're a small industry. There's really no
Yes.
gatekeeping of secrets or information here. Always happy to trade notes if you're online or even at one of these conferences that I keep attending. So yeah, I'll see you all there.
All right. And Vivek, you owe me dinner and drinks, my friend. Sorry.
Hey, I have one more. I have one more
Okay,
in
go.
case
Let's go. Let's go.
this changes the game. All right, all right. All right. A girl came into my bookstore and asked, "What are the chances you have a book on curing eating disorders with religion?" I told her, "Yes, it's called Slim to None."
There you go. Vivek trying to make it up. All right. I like it. 2-1. We'll say
That
2-1.
was, let's call that a Hail Mary.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to be doing a solo podcast next week. We're going to break down all the ASO stuff along with some of the new things that we're discovering from an ASO standpoint. I know I haven't shared a lot of the newer stuff lately in a quick little video, so I'm going to break it all down for you next week live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Vivek, thank you for saying yes and finally coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you for having me, Steve. This is a great experience. This was my first LinkedIn/YouTube live, so super excited about this as well. And thanks for to everyone who attended for your participation as well. Really appreciate all the thoughtful questions.
Yeah. And I appreciated all the jokes wins for me. Luis, thank you. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.